Alrighty, we are going to divide f divided by g. So we're going to take this function and divide by this function. And I'm going to do a long division bar here, and you might want to write kind of small because these take a little bit of space. So we are going to put x plus 3 out here, and the polynomial right here goes inside because you are dividing by x plus 3, and f is what goes here. Now you got to be careful. You're going to start with x cubed, but you notice we're missing x squareds. So we need to put a placeholder for x squareds with long division. What that means, let me show you, is I start with the x cubed, but I have to add a 0x squared because we have to place hold for x squareds. It's really, really important. Okay, then we write the minus 5x and the minus 1. I will warn you, a lot of times you might be missing a piece and you need to put the placeholder. Whatever the highest power is, you start with that and work your way down. If something's missing, put a placeholder. Okay, our first step is to think what times x gives us x cubed. And hopefully you can tell that is x squared. So I'm going to put x squared in the x squared column. I call this the x squared column, the x column, and so forth. Anywho, so x squared times x is x cubed. And x squared times 3 is 3x squared. That's going to go right there. And then, like long division, always, you subtract down. Let me repeat myself. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. And I'm subtracting down, so be very careful. When you subtract down, that's gone. And 0 minus 3 is negative 3. So that's going to be a negative 3x squared. Be very careful subtracting down. That's where most mistakes happen. Like regular long division, I am now going to bring down the negative or the minus 5x. My next step is to think what times x will give us negative 3x squared. So what times x gives us this? Hopefully you can tell that would be negative 3x. So this is going to be a negative 3x in the x column. See, this is the x column. So negative 3x times this gives us negative 3x squared. That's what we were looking for. I'm going to be subtracting here in a second. But what's negative 3x times positive 3? That is negative 9x right there. Now when we subtract down, be very careful. That cancels. But what is negative 5 minus a negative 9? Here's where the mistakes happen again. When you minus a negative, that looks like this, which is positive 4. So be very careful when you subtract down right here, that becomes a positive 4x. Very easy to miss that. Bring down the negative 1. Alrighty, so now what times x gives us 4x? Okay, that would be positive 4. So we're going to take positive 4, multiply by both these terms, and put it right here. So 4 times x is 4x minus, and 4 times 3 is positive 12. And we're going to subtract down, now be careful, negative 1 minus a 12. Be careful there, is negative 13. There is nothing left to bring down, so this right here at the end is your remainder. So let's write the answer. The answer is this plus this over the divisor. So let me show you what that looks like. The answer is x squared minus 3x plus 4 minus 13 over x plus 3. I might have done something there to confuse you. Let me show you something. See the minus 13? Instead of saying plus negative 13, I put minus positive 13. That's the same thing. Instead of doing plus negative, I did minus it. It's more commonly written this way than a plus negative. That right there is my result when I divide f divided by g. If there was no remainder, you would not have anything here. Your answer would just be the front.